I'm Danielle Cook, and I want to welcome you to Cooking with the Cook Sisters, brought to you by the United States Botanic Garden. We're very pleased to be with you regularly to offer online cooking demonstrations and home garden tips. Today, I'm going to show you how to build a winning grain bowl with flavor, color, texture, and nutrition sure to please the palate. And we'll also pay a visit to the other cook sister, Adrienne, who's going to teach us what gardeners mean by risky beans. So let's get cooking. The first decision to make for a grain bowl is what grains to use, and here are 4 wonderful options. This grain bowl would be great with any mix of these 4. Whole grains are a great source of fiber, as well as B vitamins and plant protein. Once cooked, their textures range from fluffy, like quinoa, to very chewy, like farro. These 2 grains complement each other beautifully, so that's what we're going to use today. We'll begin at the end by doing a quick pickle of our blueberries. Marinating them in vinegar and sugar enhances and deepens the flavor of the blueberries, which adds a burst of flavor to our grain bowl. They need to sit in the refrigerator for as long as possible, but at least 30 minutes. We also need to prep our butternut squash. I picked a long neck squash. It's the perfect shape for narrow wedges. You could also do this with an acorn squash, which doesn't need peeling because you can eat the skin once it's roasted. My squash wedges will share the roasting pan with some shiitake mushrooms. A drizzle of olive oil, some thyme, and a little salt will finish things off. It goes into a 400-degree oven for about 20 minutes. While that's roasting, I'm going to rinse my quinoa. Rinsing removes quinoa's natural coating, which can cause it to taste bitter or soapy. Whichever grains you choose, follow the package directions for cooking. Farro is an ancient grain, often referred to as the grandmother of wheat, and it has a wonderful nutty flavor. Unlike any other grain, quinoa contains all 9 essential amino acids, making it the perfect plant protein. Let's turn our attention to the dressing. An aged, medium-bodied sherry vinegar rounds out this dressing so well, we don't need additional seasonings. Shake the dressing well and then add a good quality olive oil in 2 parts. Shake the dressing very well after each addition to emulsify the oil. Let's check on our roasted vegetables. The mushrooms are done. They feel crisp, tender. I'm going to flip the squash wedges and finish them off for a few more minutes. They look beautifully browned. To assemble your grain bowl, start with some baby spinach or arugula. Add the warm grains, some thinly chopped fennel or celery. I'll add just a little bit of dressing now as I continue to build the flavors. Our roasted shiitake mushrooms come next. The beautiful roasted squash. Drizzle a little more dressing all over the grain bowl. I'll finish things off with some toasted walnuts and the pop of flavor from our pickled blueberries. A winning grain bowl combines a variety of textures and is tied together with creamy, salty, sour, and sweet ingredients. And now let's go see what's so risky about Adrienne's beans.
Hi, I'm Adrienne. Welcome to my garden. Here it is February, and we're actually going to be planting beans today. That's why I call them risky beans. So let's take a chance. Beans are summer bearing, and the recommendation is typically to put them in no earlier than April and really May. But gardeners are optimists, and we like to push our luck. In the fall, I covered my beds with a heavy mulch of straw. This really helps in preventing freezing of the soil. Pulling that mulch back, I can see that the soil is totally workable. I'm sowing my beans a little more heavily than I would in the summertime. These are, after all, risky beans. Some may come up and some may not. Risky is also the reason why I'm only going to do 1 row at this time. Cover up those seeds with soil and then tamp it down so that the seeds have good contact with it. I've been planting beans early like this for 30 years. I would say that I get about a 70% success rate. The mulch coverage that I'm going to put on these seeds at this time of the year is also heavier than what I would do in the summer, but it's not enough to prevent them from coming up when they're ready to. Now that they're in the ground, as soon as the soil is the right temperature, they'll pop open and they'll start growing, put roots down, and the tops will come up and they'll appear above the mulch. By doing this, I estimate that I can get an extra 2 weeks of bean picking this summer. So it's worth it to me, and I'm an optimist. Thanks for visiting. I hope you'll join us next week when Danielle's going to be starting St. Patty's Day cooking with cabbage, and I'm going to be checking off my to-do list. See you next week.